For this episode of All About Minecraft Story Mode, I'm talking about Petra, my favorite character, voiced by Ashley Johnson. When you first meet Petra in episode 1, season 1, at first, she doesn't seem like much help. Really, she just is a loner, and she will, as she calls it,
for the right price, I'll help anyone.
So basically what Petra is saying is that she only helps people only if they pay her. But really, she's a really nice character and will save Jesse later on in the episode when he is being attacked by a spider. And to return the favor, he saves her from the wither storm, which later appears. And then after that, this only happens if you save Petra from the wither storm. But she will go after the wither storm and try to convince you to leave her. But you, of course, being Jesse, does not want to leave. But the wither storm makes that decision for you and slaps you into that nether portal.
Petra, you've got to go through the portal with us!
Sorry, Jesse. This is something I've got to do. If anything happens, I'll meet you guys at the temple. Thanks, Jesse. Gabriel's still up there!
Jesse! Go!
No!
At this point, most of your group thinks that Petra died. Except for you, depending on what you choose, and Axel. But anyway, Petra eventually finds her way back to the group. And then, after that, you start to realize Petra doesn't seem like herself. She seems a little more weird. And so anyway, later on, then Petra gets the courage to tell you that she has come from the worst, and she had wither sickness.
I feel bad about ditching everyone else, but I just wanted to talk to you about this alone. It's a little tough to talk about.
Hey, whatever it is, I trust you. You can tell me.
Thanks for being so understanding. You got me away from the wither storm, but I'm worried that I didn't get away soon enough.
What?
It showed up not too long after you saved me. Do you know what wither is?
The wither? Of course, we've been...
No, Jesse. Just wither, or wither sickness, I guess. And I feel like it's just gonna keep getting worse.
Well, we're gonna go back and tell the others we can get help.
You can't tell anyone about this.
Throughout episodes 2 through 4, you could see Petra slowly getting weaker as the wither sickness gets stronger and stronger, until eventually she can't hardly move. So she has to stay in the cave. Or at least that's what I chose. Either way, she doesn't really help fight with the wither storm because she is so sick. So what happens is that what they are hoping anyway is that after they kill the wither storm, the wither sickness will just dissipate. And they were right. Soon after the wither storm dies, she is right back to her normal self again.
Guys, look! My sickness is gone!
Now in episodes 5 through 8, she is no longer a loner, but a part of the new Order of the Stone. At this point, though, at the beginning, she is still getting used to the point that she has people looking out for her and being in a group of friends. But later on, she finds out that they are the best things that could ever happen to her. And she won't want to let that go.
So, how are you feeling lately?
Wither sickness free, I think. Now I'm just trying to get used to having teammates and people who worry about me. That's pretty new for me. It's nice though.
Throughout episodes 5 through 8, you also get to see that Petra gets really worried easily. And throughout these episodes, Jesse is always there to support her and help her. in any way that he can.
I wonder how he gets down there.
Maybe in addition to walking through walls, he can fly for all we know. Ugh! It's just... I'm really worried about Lucas. Those people think they're all safe, but the White Pumpkin is still running around, and he could strike again at any minute. Not to mention, all those people back there have been so ungrateful, so petty. Ugh! It's just so frustrating.
Petra, don't worry. We're gonna stop the White Pumpkin way before he can hurt anyone else. It's gonna be fine.
You're right. I know you're right. Sorry, Jesse. I just really needed to get that off my chest.
We're gonna get through this. Let's start by figuring out how we're gonna get down there, huh? You know the drill. What have you got in your inventory? Didn't you have all those wood blocks?
Sorry, I was whittling earlier. Nervous habit.
Well, luckily those should do just the trick.
You thinking ladder?
Yeah?
Gonna need a lot of them.
I'll race you.
You're on.
Done.
Don't... Oh, man. Thanks. I needed that.
At the end of season 1, we see that they go on a little bit more adventures, but not too much after that. The adventures start being less and less until eventually everybody is in their own town with their own responsibilities. Axel is in Boomtown, Olivia is in Redstonia, Lucas is working on his book, and even Jesse is working on being the leader of Beacon Town. At the beginning of season 2, we can now see that only by this point, Petra is the only one thirsty for adventure. And she is willing to get everybody from the Order back together so they could go adventuring again. But unfortunately, all of her plans fail because only Jesse is the only one that is still willing to go adventuring with her too.
Haven't lost my step yet.
Well, you sure showed me. Glad you finally made it. Sometimes I worry you don't even have time for me... your friends anymore. I mean, I get that you like your job and everything, but jeez.
Hey, I'm here now, aren't I? I'll always make time for you.
Yeah, I guess. But now that you mention it, can't help but notice that we're missing 1, 2, 3...
Axel has Boomtown duties. Olivia's grading something or other in Redstonia, and Lucas...
is writing. I figured. Man, our friends have gotten lame.
After the admin came and took her prisoner, she unfortunately turned into a warrior side puppet for the admin. Also, at this point, I'm going to be making up a mini theory, so theories with sweet lemonade. Hope you enjoy. So my theory is I don't believe that the admin just took her prisoner for a little while and then just set her in a battleground going, oh, well, fight Jesse. And I pretty much doubt that because even the admin knew how much of a friendship her and Jesse had. So, at this point, I think that once the admin held her prisoner, the admin made her, or tried to anyway, think that it was all Jesse's fault for the way that everybody split apart, for the way that all of her friends were no longer her friends, and the way that Jesse himself was trying to stay away from Petra. And he did do a little bit of this, but then halfway through fighting, Petra realized that it wasn't his fault, it wasn't Jesse's fault, it was her fault. She believed that it was her fault for the way that her friends were, for the way that her friends had become, for the way that the New Order have become. I believe at this point, Petra started getting horrible anxiety, and eventually after escaping the admin's prison. She couldn't take it anymore. She was so upset, so worried, so anxiety-filled that she just came out crying in the middle of the admin's cabin. And Jesse noticed this. Of course, Petra, being the way that she was, knew that if she looked weak, she knew that she was just making it worse. But sorry about my cat in the background. Yeah, where was I? Oh, right. Jesse knew that how she felt, and Jesse tried everything that he could to help her realize that it wasn't her fault, and that no matter what, Jesse would be there for her.
Uh-huh.
Petra? What's wrong?
Nothing. It just reminds me of this story about puppies. Really sad story. Now we barely talk. Why does this keep happening? Everyone leaves and I'm just I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I see them one by one just leaving.
Not everyone leaves, Petra. I'm not going anywhere.
Everyone talks about Romeo like he was this controlling monster, but Fred wrote that Romeo just wanted to keep them together, more than anything. Isn't that what I've been doing? Especially to you? I don't want you to feel forced to keep doing something you don't want to. I don't want to be that person. You're my best friend, Jesse.
I'll be right there with you, Petra. If you think your place is out there, then so is mine.
Thank you.
I always knew you were a big old softy.
Now don't worry, our favorite warrior Petra comes back to her normal self later on in the episode. And then in episode 5, she comes back to help defeat the admin. And now that is basically Petra's story throughout the episodes. I know this is different than what I usually do, but yeah, she's my favorite character, so I said, why not? So, sorry. Now we are back to normal with our usually scheduled program. So right now, my favorite quote of Petra has to be...
But I want to be there for you guys.
I know you do, and you will.
Maybe you're right.
The reason why I chose this as my quote is because she will do anything, even though she's literally lying there on the floor halfway dead by now. But anyway, she will do anything for her friends. But unfortunately, Jesse has to tell her to stay put, and I am really upset with that, but oh well. That's what I chose to, and I think that it's a smarter decision. Anyway, now on to the death scene. Petra has two separate death scenes that she can go through, and I'll show them to you now.
Jesse, got your back. Go! Go!
And
No! Petra! Lucas!
now moving on to ships. The first one is pretty obvious, which is male Jesse and Petra. Petra and Jack. Sorry if I spelled their ship name wrong. I don't use it often. And last off, there's even a Luptra. And once again, sorry if I spelled it wrong. Now, the last thing I am going to mention on here is now the Hogwarts house. Petra has a lot of courage and bravery, and as you saw in one of those death scenes, she risked her life for Jesse. And by the way, just to make sure that you guys all know, that death scene happened on episode 8. Okay, so her house is Gryffindor. Did you like my sorting hat imitation? Yeah, I'll stop now.